Hello and welcome to On From Uman. The Soviets have penetrated deep behind the German lines and are preparing a deliberate attack on Krapitanka village. Red Army forces are massing for a final effort. Furkov needs a victory. Well, he does indeed. 3-2 down and the final scenario of the campaign. And this is the attack on an objective scenario. The side which holds the objective marker at the end of the game wins, and the final countdown is available. Krapitanka village is at the top of the table, and the Soviets will be attacking from the bottom. It's the usual terrain restrictions. The objective is the road junction in the centre of town. The Soviet patrol phase started on the bottom edge of the table, and the Germans 20 inches in from their table edge. You can see by the patrol markers that the Soviets didn't make much headway there. And let's have a look at the jump-off points. Unsurprisingly, the Soviets are all on the edge of the table, one on the left, one in the centre by the road where the tank will have to come on, and one on the right. The Germans have one back left on the bend in the road by the hut, one in the centre by the barn, and one on the right as we look in the corner of a field. Once again, force morale for both sides is on 9. The Germans have 1 cock point to start, and the Soviets 3. For this scenario, Furkov has a massive 16 points for support, and there are no restrictions. So I've gone for a pre-game bombardment and a mortar bombardment. It's the first time I've played with that, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes. They got the good old favourite Maxim MMG with 5 crew, and backed by popular demand, the Su-122, a big chunk of their total support points, but it does have a very good HE effect. Meanwhile, the Germans have 8 points, also no restrictions, so they have SOS Fire, a Pak 38 with 5 crew and junior leader, and Panzerschreck team. So, what's the Soviet plan? You can see the jump-off points on the edge of the table there, on the left, in the centre by the road where the 122 has to come on, and on the right here. Now, there's a bit of dead ground there with the high ground, but the terrain over this side is not brilliant. We've got the river, some more high ground here, and then another river. And of course, the Germans have some jump-off points there in the corner of the field and by the barn to protect the left-hand side of the village from their perspective. This is going to be a tricky one. I think it will have to be a sort of right hook using the ground there to snuggle around, and fire bases on the left and in the centre. But I'm afraid fighting through this village is going to be very tricky. Look at all those fences, look at the cover, look at the houses. Germans have got a good chance here of defending and indeed throwing back the Soviet advance. It's potentially ambush-tastic. Soviets get the game underway. 1 chain of command point, 2 1s, 2 3s. On one of the ones, the sniper pair will deploy from the central jump-off point here into these trees. And there they are, bottom right of the camera there. They've got a pretty good overview of the village and potentially the route on the right hand side for a flanking attack. Sticking with that same jump off point, I'm going to get a section deployed here in the dead ground. And that I think will do for the moment. German phase. Interesting. 2 1s, 3 3s. I'm going to get one of the teams, an MG34 machine gun team from a section to deploy here in the field. So they can't go on Overwatch, but they're certainly guarding the left flank of the village there. On a 3, another section will deploy from the back right jump off point and they'll move to their right. And I think that'll do for the moment. Well, that's chain of command point-tastic for everybody. Double phase and 1 for the Germans, and 3 for the Soviets, who now have a complete dice and 1. Follow-on phase. 1 chain of command. 1 1 2 3. Well, on a 3, this section will move around the corner here in the dead ground. They'll go at the double. Well, that's only 7. Both teams will take a point of shock. However, for his second order, the junior leader will take that off the gun team. On a 2, another section will deploy from the central jump-off point into this dead ground. And on a 1, the Maxim team will deploy from the left-hand jump-off point and go to the trees. End of phase. 6 does nothing for the Germans. 1, 2, 2, 3. On a 3, what I want to do now is get another MG34 team from a different section in here with a junior leader. So can they come on? No. Well, I do have another section I could do that with. I'll have to add a 1 and a 2. No. So I think I'll leave it there. So I've just got 1, 2 left, and I'll move this section around to the corner of that field, which they do nicely. End of phase. 1, 3 3s and a 4 for the Soviets. On a 3, this junior leader will take a point of shock off and he'll get his gang to continue up to the stream. Just the 2 dice this time. Goes 5. On another 3, this junior leader will move his gang up here. Only just. And on a 1, the Maxim will move forward to the edge of the trees. Again, just about. And Pukin would also deploy from that left-hand jump-off marker and go and give the Maxim a hand. End of phase. So here we go, it's a bit cagey, and the Soviets on the left are infiltrating the trees here. Pukin's going to help out the Maxim. Meanwhile, on the right, the Soviet sections are stacking up to go right flanking. Sniper pair on the rise there to cover them as they move across that rough terrain and the stream. However, we've got an MG34 in this field. They're keeping their eyes peeled, not on overwatch at the moment. And there's a German section in here just to the right of the objective, and they'll be keeping their eyes peeled for any Soviets coming on the right of the village. German phase. 6 does nothing, 2 chain of commands. They're now on 4, 2, 4. Not overly useful. On a 2, the German section here will fire at the Maxim in the trees. Just the 11 dice because of the way the section is laid out at the moment. Hitting on 5s. 3 hits. Soft cover. 1 shock, 1 kill. And over here with the MG34 team in the field, I'm going to use 3 chain of command points to reposition them to the left. They know there's Soviets to their front, but their arcs of fire because of those trees are poor. So I'm wanting them over here. And that's perfect. And now they got a view of that advancing Soviet section. Double phase for the Soviets, chain of command point each. 2, 3. So 2 sections on the right will make the most of this double phase. Front section will get across that stream and into that clump of woods. So 2 dice, taking away the lower. Well, that's a cracking move. And the other section will follow on at the double. They just go 7. But they're up to the stream as well. End of phase. Nice roll. 1 chain of command point. 3 2s and a 4. Well, first of all, Pukin will activate on a 4, move up to the Maxim and get them to give it big licks on the Germans. 10 dice, hitting on 4s. Solid 6 hits. So they get some light cover for this. 3 on the gun team. 1 kill. And 3 on the rifle team. 1 kill. Now it's one of those kills on the junior leader. It is. I'll take 1 off the gun team first. What's happened to the junior leader? Stunned. Bad things happen. No effect. So back over on the right flank, the front section here will activate on a 2 and move into that tree line. Which they do. And on another 2, this section will cross the stream and try and get in cover behind the trees as well. Well, I think they're lucky there. They go 6. Well, unfortunately for them, I don't think they've either made it into cover or actually totally across the stream. They are exposed to the MG34. Ooh, misses. And on the final 2, the heavy section will deploy again from the central jump-off point and move into the dead ground here. End of phase. 2 chain of commands for the Germans. 2, 3, 4. So on a 3, I'm thinking that I'm going to get a junior leader and 1 team, the MG34, to deploy in this German central jump-off point. And they managed to do that. And they'll immediately open fire on the Soviets thrashing around in the stream. Junior leader will order Maschinengewehr. So the German team's here and the Soviets here. 10 dice, hitting on 5s just outside of close range, but it is Storm of Steel. 3 hits, 1 reroll. So that's a total of 4 hits. 2 on the gun team, they're in the open. 1 kill. 2 on the rifle team. 2 shock. Here's the kill on the junior leader. No. On a 2, the German right-hand section will again engage the Maxim. 11 dice, hitting on 5s. 4 hits. Light cover, and of course this time puking is there as well. That's another 2 points of shock. End of phase. Right, 6 does nothing. 1 chain of command. Soviets are racking those up. 1 full dice plus 5 and 3 1s. On one of the 1s then, the sniper team will activate here and they'll fire at that junior leader and MG34 by the barn. Hitting on a 3. Oh dear, he's not ranged in yet. I would like to move the rear section forward, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to use the other 2 for that forward section to fire on the MG34 in the corner of the field. So this will be close range, and I'll allow them 10 dice firepower, hitting on 4s. And that's a cracking hit, 7. Well, of course, it's all on the 1 team. There's no junior leader. This may have been quite foolish to stick them out on their own. Light cover. Indeed it was. 3 kills, 2 shock. Team wiped out. Bad things happen. -1. Germans are on 8 force morale. German phase. 6 does nothing. 1, 2, 2, 4. 1 and 2 added together. Junior leader here with the MG34 team. Maschinengewehr again against the Soviets in the open. Hitting on 5s. Storm of Steel. Well, not brilliant, but 1 reroll. So that's 3 hits. So 1 on the gun team. 1 shock. And 2 on the rifles. 1 kill. Is the kill on a junior leader? No. And on a 2, the German right-hand section here will open fire on the Maxim. 11 dice, hitting on 5s. 3 hits. And they're in light cover. So that's just 1 kill. Is that on puking? Oh, it is. What's happened to him? Wounded. Bad things happen. -1, Soviets are on 8 force morale. That's the end of phase. 1 chain of command. Soviets have 2 full dice now. 1, 3, 3, 4. Well, I think on a 4, puking will activate. He's only got the 1 command initiative and he'll tell the Maxim to fire at the Germans. 10 dice hitting on 4s. 3 hits. Light cover. 2 dice on the rifles. 2 shock. 1 dice on the gun team. No effect. Sniper team will open fire on the MG34 and junior leader by the barn. Hit. And the counter's in the open. So that's 2 shock because it's doubled. On a 3, I'm going to have to get this section out of the river and into some cover. Junior leader will take off a point of shock here. And because some of them are still stuck in the river, I'm only going to allow them 2 dice. Not brilliant. But actually I think that's enough to get them out of the arc of the chaps there by the barn. So good news. And on the final 3, I'll get this section to fire at the MG34. And they'll have 9 dice hitting on 4s. 4 hits. And it's all on the one team. A disastrous 2 kill, 1 shock. Is one of those kills on the junior leader? No. The gun team is now down to 1 operator. There's just 2 left and 3 shock, so they're going to be pinned. End of phase. 6 does nothing. 1 chain of command. 2-2-3. And before the Germans do anything, Soviets going to interrupt with a full chain of command dice and get that section to fire again. But that's a very disappointing 2 hits. Obviously got too overexcited there. But of course I forgot they're now pinned, so it's hard cover. But that is a kill. Is that on the junior leader? No. Gun team wiped out. Bad things happen. -1, Germans are on 7 force morale. And of course that junior leader is now there on his own. On a 2, the section on the right will keep hammering the Maxim. 4 hits. Soft cover. Another 2 shock and a kill. Is the kill on Pukin? No. So 3 operators there on the gun. Pukin, that makes 4, and there's 5 shock. So they're pinned. And over on the German left, I'm going to get a junior leader to deploy with the remainder of his section, the MG34 team having died previously. So that's the rifles turning up. Still rolling for pre-game bombardment. So they don't make it. I don't really want to get the pack out yet, and the Panzerschreck team are no good either. End of phase. Well, that is extremely useful for the Soviets. Double phase. Does give the Germans a full chain of command dice though. 1-2-2. On a 2, the heavy section's on the move, and they're going to go to that ruined building just to their front. I think to be safe, they'll sprint. Looks like they've made it. On a 1, the sniper will fire at the junior leader, cowering behind that fence. But he's missed. And on the final 2, this section will double forward between the 2 woods, which takes them nicely up to the river. And there they are, a little bit ragged at the moment because of that sprint, but they're now threatening the German left flank. Follow-on phase. Well, interesting, 4 1s and a 2. Sniper's off again. Hits this time. He'll need a 5 or 6 to hit this junior leader. Oh, and he's got it. So what's happened to him? Stunned. Bad things happen. No effect. Well, I guess nobody's around to see him get stunned anyway. On a 1 and 2 added together, junior leader here by the stream will take a point of shock off and get them to cross over the stream and into the field. Just the 2 dice, take away the lower, and -2 inches. Well, that's not bad, they'll go 4 inches. I'll leave the rifle team this side of the hedge, but the gun team are right on that German jump-off point. Not a lot else to do with those 2 1s, so I think the Maxim can fire on 1 of them, but it's just 3 dice because of being pinned and the shock. That's 2 hits though. 1 on the gun team. No. 1 on the rifles. No. So a quick synopsis here. Soviets are struggling on their left with the fire support in the woods, but not overly worried about that at the moment. Heavy section have manoeuvred very nicely in the centre, and they're all set up in this building, ready to give cover fire on the 2 sections on the right. They're hooking in nicely, especially that one that's already closed down, one of the German jump-off points. And the main problem with the Germans, they just haven't got enough firepower on the field as yet. They're struggling to get through that pre-game bombardment. What can Kruger do now? Well, nothing as yet, because I've just realised with the other one for the Soviets, I'm going to bring down some mortar fire. There's only really one aiming point at the moment, and that is here. So let's see if the fire arrives now or later. Fire is on target and immediately available. There's only one section caught in the bombardment, but anyway, it's denying the Germans access to the village. It's 4 dice for each team, hitting on 4s, and unfortunately for them, it's no cover. Gun team first, 2 kill, 1 shock. And the rifles. 2 kill, 1 shock. Now, of those 4 kills, is one on the junior leader? No, he's escaped. So it's going to be gun team wiped out and 2 riflemen being killed. And needless to say, that section is pinned. Bad things happen for the gun team. -1. Germans are on 6 force morale. Kruger is having a nightmare at the moment. Decent roll, 2 1s, 2 2s and a 4. What can he do? Well, on a 1, I think the Pak 38 has to be wheeled out and they're trying to use some HE against this flanking attack by the Soviets. I'd like to put him here, but that's too far away from the jump-off point. So it's going to go in with that claggage. And of course, positioned there, they can't see the section on the German jump-off point, but will open fire on the section in the woods. So it's an HE of 3, hitting on 4s. Storm of Steel. 2 hits, 1 reroll. 3 hits. So it's reduced cover by 1 level. They're in the open. 1 dice on the gun team. That's a kill. 2 on the rifle team. 2 kills. Well, as the junior leader caught it up. Yes, he has. Right, what's happened to him? Oh, there we go. Browners. And 1 off the rifle team and gun team. So bad things happened for the junior leader. Oh dear, 6. -2. Soviets are on 6, same as the Germans. On a 1 and 2 added together, I'm going to get a section commander to come out with his rifle team. They haven't got enough room to get into a fire position, but they can go behind this barn. Now, can they actually deploy? They can. That's getting very congested there. I think the only other thing that Kruger can do is actually put an appearance himself. Let's see if he turns up. Oh, he doesn't. You don't fancy it. Well, I've just had a thought. There is one other thing to do. Pay a chain of command dice and get an ambush on the go. The only unit I've got left is a Panzerschreck team. I'm not quite sure if I have to roll to see if they deploy like the others because of the pre-game barrage. I will do anyway. They're okay there. They're going to pop into this corner of the field and open fire with 4 dice of HE against a section in the woods. Again, hitting on 4s. 2 hits, and I'm assuming it's also Storm of Steel, actually. Another hit. Another reroll. Right, just a 3. Right, this time I'm going to have 1 on the gun team. Shock. And 2 on the rifle team. 2 kill. Junior leader has already gone, so that's straight kills. So there's 5 comrades left in that section. And having done their job there, that Panzerschreck team are now going to disappear and redeploy somewhere else, potentially. That is the end of the German phase. Right, 6 does nothing. That 1 has to be used for the bombardment. 2-2-4. Well, on one of the 2s, the heavy section is going to swing into action. They'll open fire on the Pak 40 gang just behind the fence line. 12 dice, hitting on 5s. 3 hits. Not quite a bunch target because it's just the Pak and a team behind them. So it'll be 2 dice on the Pak. 1 kill. 1 dice on the team behind. No effect. Leaves that kill on the Pak's junior leader. No. So, crewman down. What's left of this section in the woods on a 2 will activate and move to the right as we look. I think they'll be sprinting. They'll go 9, less 1 for shock. And there they are, they're nearly out of arc, but not quite. Now I am going to play a chain of command dice here, a bit of a luxury, but of course old Furkov is nowhere to be seen at the moment. So I'm going to move a jump off point, and it's going to come over to this dead ground here, and old Furkov will pop out. Needs to get in on the action. So there he is, needs to get his skates on next time and get up there and galvanise this right flanking attack. And also, of course, get in there for some medals afterwards. In my excitement, I nearly forgot about the bombardment continuing over on this section here. So it's just the rifle team left, 4 dice, and they will be in soft cover this time. That's going to be 1 shock, 1 kill. Is the kill on the junior leader? No. Right, what have we got there? 3, and junior leader's down, 4 shock. Well, they're already pinned, they remain pinned, obviously. German phase. Well, double phase, and 1 chain of command point to both sides. 1-1. I think it'd be suicidal if we get this team to run around the corner and attack close combat, so that ain't going to happen. But I think the pack 38 can swivel to its right slightly and hit the house there with the heavy section. So HE of 3 dice, hitting on 4s, Storm of Steel. 2 hits, 1 reroll. Another reroll. Right, total of 4 hits. So 2 dice on each gun team. His hard cover in here reduced to light, so that's 1 shock. And 2 on the other team. Well, that's 1 shock, 1 kill. As the junior leader caught it up. Oh, he has. What's happened to him? Stunned. Right, bad things. -1. And the Soviets dropped to 5 force morale. Germans still on 6 at the moment. Well, Kruger's running out of options. I've got a 1 left, and the only thing I can do really is get this Panzerschreck team deployed again. Not ambushing, but they're into this corner of the field, and they'll look left and fire at that Soviet section just across the river. They're in the open. HE, 4 dice, Storm of Steel. That's a cracking hit, 3 with 2 rerolls. It remains at 3. So 1 on the gun team, in the open. That's a kill. 2 on the rifles. Another kill. No junior leader, so these come straight off. Now there's 3 with 3 shock, just about okay. But it's the double phase for the Germans. An interesting roll. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4. On a 1, pack 38 will fire at the heavy section. 3 dice, HE, Storm of Steel. 1 hit. We'll do that on the front gun team. 1 shock. On a 4, Kruger will come out as well. Let's see if he makes it this time. No, he doesn't. Dear oh dear. Kruger is hiding away somewhere, eating some sauerkraut and drinking a bit of schnapps. Don't fancy it. And I think on a 3, the junior leader here will get his chaps just to move forward to the end of the barn. I won't bother rolling for that. So I'm also thinking that on the other order, he can get this chap here to lob a grenade over there. They're in the open. Well, he's got the distance there. So it's a 5 power of 3. I'll have 2 on the gun team in the field. 1 shock. And 1 on the rifle team, the other side of the hedge. Which is a kill. Now, that may have hit the junior leader. No. And that, I think, is the end of phase for the Germans. Not a brilliant roll for the Soviets. 6 does nothing, 1 chain of command point. That has to be used for the barrage. 2 4s. Final phase of mortars then. 4 dice, light cover. 3 shock. So that is 3 chaps with 7 shock. They will break. Go 12. And they've left the junior leader behind. So there they are behind the hut. I'm not actually quite sure whether I can move them if the barrage is still continuing, but that will lift this phase anyway. Nevertheless, it's a bad things happen. And with the 6, team breaking is -2. It takes the Germans to 4 force morale. On the Soviet left here, Pukin will activate. He's just got the 1 command initiative, so he'll take off 1 point of shock. and Furkov will make a mad dash for it on the right. Goes 11. So that puts him up with the rear section. He'll take a point of shock off the gun team and galvanise those men to get across that stream. And they'll go 4 inches. Less 1 for shock. However, that does get them out of the arc of the pack 38, but it also leaves Furkov on his own in the open. Kruger just has the 4 command dice now. 1 chain of command. 1, 2, 3. And before I roll the German command dice, I'll lift the barrage. They've had their 3 phases, have the Russians. Didn't do a massive amount, but certainly sorted out that section on the left and denied the Germans the left-hand part, as we look, of Krapitanka. Well, with the 1, 2, 3, this is really tricky to work out what to do. 2 junior leaders are stunned for the Germans, one over on the right-hand side of Krapitanka and one by the pack 38. Kruger's not on yet, but I think the 1 has to be used for the pack. Firing at the heavy section again. It's a cracking hit, 2 rerolls. Just the 3 hits. Light cover, 2 on the front team. 1 shock. 1 on the rear team. 1 kill. Is that on the junior leader? No. 1 on a 3, the junior leader with this team will get the front man again to chuck a grenade. I think that's the section's last one. Again, it's a good throw. 2 dice on the gun team. 1 kill. 1 on the rear team. No effect. Is that kill on a junior leader? No. And now the junior leader will get the section to long and out in between the detritus of war there, the trucks and the barrels and whatever. Again, I'll not bother rolling for that, but they'll set themselves up in what cover they have, potentially, to get the rounds down. No command dice left for anything else. End of phase. Right, 1, 6 does nothing. 1 chain of command. Both have 2 chain of command points now. 1, 2, 3. Well, it's been a while coming, but the 1, 2, 2 is going to enter the table now. Obviously been held up to the rear with a bit of traffic. Anyway, he's on now. I won't do anything just yet. That was a 3. On the 1 and 2 added together, this junior leader here will take a point of shock off and get the gun team to fire at the Germans. 6 dice hitting on 4s. 3 hits. I'll give them light cover. And that's 1 shock, 1 kill. Is the kill on the junior leader? No. German phase. Small straight, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, unfortunately for the Germans, the Panzerschreck team are unable to engage the 1, 2, 2 because it's behind the house where the heavy section is sheltering. So the pack 38 will continue to pepper the heavy section. 2 hits, 1 reroll. 3 hits. These guys taking a right pounding. 2 on the front team. 1 shock. 1 on the rear. No effect. Well, I think they got away with it there. On a 3, has to be a 3 because they're a team. This junior leader will activate. He'll take a point of shock off and get his team and him firing at the Soviets behind the hedge. 5 riflemen, 1 SMG, 7 dice. Now, it is a bunched target. Hitting on 3s. Well, just as well it was a bunched target because that's an extra 3 hits for 6. And each team is going to get 2 dice. So, the gun team at the front. Light cover. 1 shock. Rifle team behind the hedge. 1 shock. Actually, there's 2 teams here, so each will get 1 dice. Gun team first. No effect. And the rifle team on the left. 1 shock. Well, that could have been better. On a 4, Kruger will try to come out again. Well, can you believe it? No. This pre-game bombardment is going on and on and on, and obviously Kruger has been interdicted somewhere. Final dice is a 2, and I can't do anything with that. End of phase. Well, check it out, 3 6s, so there's double phase, end of turn. Germans get a chain of command point there. 2 junior leaders will reactivate. Don't know whether it'll do any good. 2 and a 5. On a 2, it's this section that's going to fire at the Germans. However, the rifle team are behind the hedge, can't do anything. It's just the guns, and they got 1 point of shock, but the junior leader has his SMG, so 7, like the Germans. 3 hits. Light cover, all on the 1 team. Oh, there we go. Bullets flying around, but they dodged all of them. So, end of turn, and this junior leader will hop up. Not quite sure what he's going to do there. I suppose he can help with morale with the Pack 38. This junior leader, he can jump up now. The barrage has finished, but everybody's run away, and he's now got to go and try and find his section. And indeed, the heavy sections commander also gets up from being stunned. And before I forget, I have to roll for the Germans losing this jump-off point. Another -1. Germans are on 3 force morale. Cracking roll for the Soviets there. 1-1, 3-3, 4. So I think on a 3, the junior leader with a heavy section will take a point of shock off, and they will engage the Panzerschreck team. That could be the biggest threat to the 1-2-2 at the moment. 11 dice hitting on 4s. 7 hits. However, before I do anything, the Germans will pay 3 chain of command points, their last, and hit the dirt. So this is hard cover. And they've played a blinder there, because that's just 1 shock. Panzerschreck team survive. On a 1, the driver of the Su-122 will put his foot to the floor, and they'll go flat out. So that's 9 plus 6, 15. And fantastically positioned, fortuitously, for that building to give cover against the Panzerschreck team. Back over on the right, the junior leader will activate with this gun team here. He'll take a point of shock off, and they'll all fire, giving them 8 dice. 4 hits. 1 shock, 1 kill. Is that kill on the junior leader? No. On a 4, Furkov's on the move. He'll move over to the tree by the stream, which he just about gets to. Late to the party, but ready to bathe in the glory. And he'll take off 2 points of shock from that section. On the 1, I don't know what's been happening here, but I've forgotten about the sniper. God blimey, I tell you what, he's going to pop up and have a go at the Panzerschreck team. It's a hit. They've dodged the bullets so far. How are they going to do now? Oh, can you believe it? No effect. They are living a charmed life at the moment. And that, I think, is the end of the Soviet phase. Right, German phase, and they've still got 4 command dice. 6 will do nothing. 1, 3, 3. On one of the 3s, the junior leader with the pack will get the team to fire. Well, 3 hits with 2 rerolls. Ooh, nasty 5. So, light cover, 3 on the front team. 1 shock. 2 on the rear team. 1 shock, 1 kill. Kill on the junior leader? No. On a 4, Kruger will deploy. No need to roll now because the pre-game bombardment has finished. He'll take a point of shock off this section and get them to fire again over here. Just the 6 dice now, but it's still a bunch target. And that's 6 hits. So this bunch of Soviets are struggling at the moment. They're stuck in the field, hedge and stream area and getting leathered by the Germans. 2 hits on the front gun team. 1 shock. 2 on the rifle team behind them. 1 shock. 1 on the gun team to the left. 1 shock. Shocktastic at the moment. And 1 on the rifle team on the left. Another shock. However, this section, what remains of them, 2 riflemen and 1 gunner, 3 of them with 5 shock, they're now pinned. Soviet phase. 1 chain of command point. They now have 4, 3 2s and a 4. Well, I'd like to get the 1-2-2 moving up to the objective. I know they won't have infantry support, but they can't move anyway because there's no 3s or 1s for the driver. Pukin over on the left will take another point of shock off here. I think they're still pinned because of the amount of shock they had after the end of the first turn. On 2-2s added together, Furkov will activate here. 2 points of shock off the rifles, and he'll order the gun team at the front to fire along with the junior leader. Nasty close quarter battle, this one. It's 8 dice, hitting on 4s. 4 hits. Light cover. 1 shock, 1 kill. Here's the kill on a leader. No. That team is gradually getting whittled away. But that is the end of turn for the Soviets. It's actually not the end of turn. I'd forgot about the heavy section, who can also activate on a 2. And they'll go for that Panzerschreck team again. 10 dice, hitting on 4s. 5 hits. And they haven't done anything since hitting the dirt, so it's still hard cover. And that is no effect. End of phase. Well, it is ding-dong at the moment. Well, that's a poor roll for the Germans. 6 does nothing. 2 chain of command points and a 4. I guess the only thing that's happening here is Kruger taking a point of shock off these, getting them to fire at the Soviets again, and for his last order, shouting over to the pack to get them to fire again. So rifleman first. It's only 5 dice now, but it's still bunch target. 3 hits. So 1 on the front gun team. Shock. 1 on the rifles behind them. Shock. And 1 on the gun team to the left. They'll be hard cover. No effect. Pack firing at the heavy section. No, I'll give him 1 there. And a reroll. Right, just a 1 hit. Front gun team. No effect. Soviet phase. So 2 chain of command points. That's a full dice and 3 3s. Righty-ho, the junior leader in the SU-122 is going to get a move on and go up to the objective. We'll just go the 2 dice because otherwise he's going to come a cropper turning that corner. And that's a poor move. Total of 8. And opens himself up to the Panzerschreck team if they can move into position. So I think on a 3, the junior leader with the heavy section is going to take a point of shock off one of the teams, and he'll detach them and tell them to leg it after the 1-2-2. So I'm thinking they've got to get out of that building anyway, which is obviously rough terrain. So it's a max of 2 dice. Less 1 shock, 3 inches. Oh dear. And they've still got a fair way to go to catch up the tank. Well, same old over here. Point of shock off. LMG and SMG firing together. 8 dice. 4 hits. 2 shock, 1 kill. Is the kill on the junior leader? No. And that's another one gone. Germans are very thin on the ground now. Well, very interesting roll for the Germans. Double phase. 1 chain of command point to the Soviets, which gives them a full dice plus 1. 1-4. Well, I think we all know what's going to happen on the 1. The Panzerschreck team are going to move into position. So they go 2 dice, less 1 because of that shock. More than enough to get up to that fence. So they can fire now with a -1 to hit, or wait till next turn and hope a 1 turns up. I think they've got to go for it now. It's a side-on flank target of the 1-2-2. Great opportunity. Now the target is low profile, so they need a 7 with 2 dice. This may be the last huzzah for the Germans. Oh, look at that. It's a cracking hit. And I'm afraid for the Soviet tankies, it's an AP of 11. Side armour hit. So we're needing 4s or above. It's a stonking 8 hits. Armour of 5. Well, that lone 6 tells a story. So obviously that is a net 3+. Need to roll to see what's happened to the tank. Explodes. So that's about how things happen for an AFV destroyed. And that's -2. Soviets are on 3 force morale. Over here, Kruger will activate on a 4. He'll take 2 points of shock off what remains of that team and get them to move. I think they've just come over here. End of phase. But it's a follow-on phase. 1-1-2-4. Pack 38 in action again. Well, look at that. 2 hits, 2 rerolls. Another reroll. Another reroll. 4 hits. Right, 2 on this team. They're in the open. Dear oh dear. Well, lucky there. Then you just got the 1 shock. And 2 on these chaps here, light cover. 1 kill. Here's the kill on the junior leader. No. It's all going Pete Tong for the Soviets. Well, on a 1, the Panzerschreck team are going to do no good there apart from attract some bullets. And they've got no ammunition left, so they'll disappear. Away they go. I've got a 4 and a 2 left. I don't think I can do anything. I've only got teams left for the Germans. And I'm not quite sure what Kruger can do apart from stay there at the moment and just organise things. End of phase. Old Furkov just has 3 command dice now. And that roll is shite. 6 does nothing. 1 chain of command point and a 2. So I think with a 2, this section will try and move up to that hedge line there. Now, of course, these chaps are the other side of the hedge, so it's 2 dice less the lower, less the shock. They don't move. I suppose the gun team can. Dear oh dear. Shocker. German phase. 1-1-2-4. On one of the 1s, I'm afraid it's more of the same from the pack 38 onto the heavy section. 1 hit only. So 1 on the front gun team. No effect. Well, on a 4, Kruger will activate and tell this section, or rather team and junior leader, to get up to the objective toot sweet. They'll go 8 and take a point of shock. And the final German rifle team will deploy. Now there's no bombardment, but I still need to roll because Kruger's on the table. They don't come out. Dear oh dear. Obviously carrying away somewhere. And finally on a 1, the Panzerschreck team are just going to move along here. Which they do nicely. Peering nervously around the corner of that building, watching the 122 burn, which is all their work. And hopefully waiting for some reinforcements from their rear. Soviet phase. 1-4-4. Interesting. First into action is a sniper team, and they're going for the pack. And that's a hit. So they count as in the open. And that's a kill. Now, is that on a leader? 1 or 2 it is. Yes. Well, I've got 2 junior leaders there. I don't suppose it really matters which one gets it. I'll do the one on the left. Wounded. Bad things happen. -1. Germans are on 2 force morale. So on a 4, Furkov's going to activate, and he's going to amalgamate this team with this team into one section. I think he can do that. He'll take a point of shock off first. They're within 4 inches, so they're going to come here. And in fact, he'll take another point of shock off. So that's now just 1 team. And over on the left, on the other 4, Pukin is going to give up the Maxim and start to make his way over to the heavy section. Goes 10. There he is, scarpering across the open ground. Still got a long way to go though. German phase, just the 3 command dice now. Well, 6 does nothing. 1 and 3. On a 3, this junior leader will activate, take a point of shock off, and they will sprint up to the Panzerschreck team. They go 12, which puts them right next to them. and the shot goes back on. So a little bit of German resistance now on the objective, and they'll amalgamate themselves next turn when they've got an opportunity. So with the 1, I guess the only other thing to do is fire with the pack again at the heavy section. Another poor miss. The barrel must be getting worn. So a quick synopsis before we go any further. Both sides suffering massively from the attrition. The old heavy section there getting whittled down, but look out, Pukin's on the way to help. He's given up with the Maxim on his left. Germans not got many troops left, but they're massing some sort of firepower near the objective, trying to defend that. Meanwhile, on their left, old Kruger's in there with the pack, and they're still going. And obviously Furkov on the right, trying to galvanise this section, and probably going to get a close assault in at the moment. It is ding-dong, all to play for. Both force morales are very low. And it's the Soviet phase. 1 chain of command. They've still got a full dice, and now 3. 1, 4. Pukin's on the move again. 13. Nearly up to the heavy section, but because he's wounded, he's only got the 1 command initiative, and he's used that to move. On a 1, we'll have the sniper firing again at the pack. Another hit. Another kill. Now, is that on the junior leader again? No. 3 crew left. German phase. 6 does nothing. 1, 3. So on a 3, this junior leader will activate. He'll take a point of shock off, and they are now a team. 4 riflemen. That's all he can do at the moment. But of course, the pack can operate on a 1, so they'll open fire again. 1 hit. It's on the section in the house. No effect. Soviets. 1, 1, 3. So on a 3, junior leader here, he'll take a point of shock off and get his section to move in here. 2 dice only because they're crossing the hedge and have to take the lower off. Parfait. There they are, stacked up behind the barn, ready to assault the pack and Kruger. And of course the sniper will open fire as well. Another hit. Another kill. Is that on a junior leader? No. So the pack 38 is down to 2 crew now. And I guess on a 1 I can get this team to fire at the pack. It will just be 5 dice. 2 hits. Now they'll get light cover for this. No effect. 1, 3, 4 for Kruger. Well, firstly on a 4, Kruger doesn't like the look of those Soviets there. He's here, he's going to leg it up to the objective area, telling the pack to fire just as he runs for it. He'll go 13. The pack opens fire. 2 hits, 1 reroll. Another reroll. 3 hits total. I'll have 2 on the chaps in the house. 1 shock. 1 on the guys in the open. Kill. Now, has the junior leader caught that one up? No. On the 1, I'll get the final rifle team to try and deploy again. They do, finally. Now, they can come from this jump-off point. I'm going to put them here to defend the area there. And I tell you what, on a 3, this junior leader, although he's wounded, can go and join that team. It's part of his section anyway. I won't bother rolling for that because there's a gap in the fence. Germans are getting their act together. And on a 1, this team will move further up the road behind the hedge to protect the objective. Well, take 1 off for shocks, they only go 3 inches. That's left them rather exposed, but there's no Soviets to take advantage at the moment. End of phase. So just point of clarification, the heavy section team in the house are now pinned. The team outside the house here, it's 2 shock, 2 operators, so they're just about okay. And of course Pukin's around to assist, hopefully in a memento. And the thing is, with a small number of command dice, the phases come around very quickly. One chain of command point, 3-4. So I think puking on a 4 is going to tell that lot to get up there as quick as they can. You can't get them to double because they'll get another point of shock and therefore be pinned. So it's just 2 dice only, straight up the road. 6 less 2 for shock, 4. But that takes them out of arc from the pack. And on a 3, this junior leader will get somebody to lob a grenade over the barn onto the pack. They're getting ready to close assault, but we'll try and whittle them down a bit more. So the distance is 4, but it's +3 because it's a high building. 2 dice needing 7 or more. And they've got it. Nice throw, comrade. So it's 3 hits, all in the open. 1 kill, 1 shock. Now is the kill on that junior leader? No. The gun team are down to 1 operator. End of phase. 114 for Kruger. However, before anything happens, the Soviet's going to interrupt, pay a chain of command dice and activate. And they are going to close assault. So I'll just roll to make sure they can get there. 2 dice. No problem. So it's the Soviet team here, what's left of the pack gang there, and the German rifles behind the fence can get involved. I'll work out some dice. Well, the Soviets are actually outnumbered here, unfortunately, so it's a bit of a miscalculation, but never mind, we're going for it. But they come up trumps there. So, firstly, each 5 is a point of shock. Each 6 is a kill. So, 2 on the Soviets, here's 1 on the junior leader. Oh, it is. What's happened to him? Killed. Right, so he's gone. And 1 other. And 3 on the Germans. Has a junior leader been hit there? No. So I'm going to kill off the pack team for 1 and 2 casualties here. Soviets win by 1, so the Germans have to retreat 6 inches. So they're over there. I guess the junior leader has to go with them over there as well. The pack team were wiped out, so I'll just take that off the board. And although that's a victory for the Soviets, I'm going to roll a bad things happen because their junior leader's been killed. -1. Can you believe it? Both sides are now on 2 force morale. This goes on and on. So that was the end of phase, and what I've forgotten to do, of course, is roll to see what happens after the pack team have got wiped out. This could be the killer blow for the Germans in Krapitanka. Oh, can you believe it? -1. Germans are on 1. We continue. 2 dice only. 6 does nothing. 1-3. Well, not a lot to do, but this junior leader here will activate his team and get them to fire. It'll be 6 dice because he's got his SMG. It's close range, so it's hitting on 4s. 3 hits. That's all on 1 team. Light cover, so it's 2 shock. And that's 4 chaps with 3 shocks that are okay. Soviets still have 3 command dice. 6 does nothing. 1-4. So I think on the 1, that team will just fire straight back. They got the LMG there for 6, and 2 riflemen, a total of 7 dice because they got the shock. Hitting on 4s. 2 hits. Soft cover. Ooh, 1 shock, 1 kill. Now is the kill on a leader. Of course, Kruger's there on the road as well. It is. Junior leader 1, 2, 3. Kruger 4, 5, 6. It's Kruger. What's happened to him? Oh no! Can you believe it? Kruger's killed. Gone. And with that, it's about things happen. But oh dear, that is it. German force morale collapses, and they will stream out of Krapitanka and leave it to the Soviets. Well, what an absolute epic that was. Went right down to the wire with force morales, and either side could have cracked then. Ultimately, it was the Soviets coming in on the right, which did for the Germans, and Kruger copped it right at the end there, and the rest of them will lose heart and disappear. So Soviets take the objective. They win. Just. And well done, Furkov, even though he didn't actually get into action right at the end there either. Medals, vodka and potatoes for the Soviets. Well, what a cracking little campaign that was. Obviously, I wasn't using the at the sharp end campaign rules, and these were just a series of scenarios one after the other, with resurrections taking place as appropriate. The actual scores on the door were 3-all after all of that, which I think is pretty fair. Unfortunately, obviously, Kruger fell at the last, but there you go. You can't always have it your own way. Anyway, the aim was achieved for me. Lots learned, new Chain of Command 2 rules used, and I'll get cracking at some stage with another campaign. Who knows, we may see Furkov, Pukin and Kruger again.